I should have known something was wrong when Eleanor arranged this dinner to celebrate the baby. In my 18 months of marriage to her son, she'd never once celebrated anything about me. My name is Lucia, and I was about to learn exactly how far my mother-in-law would go to destroy me. The Whitfield mansion's dining room sparkled with crystal and old money. Eleanor sat at the head of the table, perfectly coiffed as always, while her husband Martin commanded the opposite end. I smoothed my dress over my barely showing pregnancy bump, trying to ignore the whispers. "More water, dear?" Eleanor's smile didn't reach her eyes. "In your condition, you must stay hydrated." "Thank you," I managed, watching her pour. My husband Aston squeezed my hand under the table, but I noticed he wouldn't quite meet my gaze. "So, Lucia," Ruby chirped from across the table, "remind us what your parents do again." Her tone dripped with false sweetness. Before I could answer, Eleanor cut in. "Oh, Ruby, you know her father passed when she was young, and her mother runs a flower shop, isn't that right?" "A successful florist," I corrected, keeping my voice steady. "She's supplied arrangements for several governors' mansions." "How quaint." Eleanor dabbed her lips with her napkin. "Speaking of family businesses, Aston, the board meeting went well today. The merger's practically finalised." I watched my husband straighten, shifting instantly into business mode. "That's excellent news, Mother. The Harrison deal should—" "Lucia, darling," Eleanor interrupted, "you're barely touching your foie gras. Is the morning sickness still bothering you?" "I'm fine," I said, forcing a bite despite my churning stomach. The expensive dish tasted like ash. Savannah, my sister-in-law, caught my eye from down the table. Her slight headshake warned me something was coming. "You know," Eleanor continued, swirling her wine, "I was looking through old photos yesterday. The family resemblance in the Whitfield line is remarkable. Every generation, same strong jaw, same blue eyes." The room grew still. Even the servants paused. "Mother," Aston warned, but she waved him off. "It just got me thinking about genetics. Fascinating subject, really. Did you know they can test for paternity now as early as 7 weeks?" My fork clattered against china. "Excuse me?" "Well, dear, you must understand our concern. The timing of this pregnancy, so soon after the marriage, and given your, shall we say, colourful dating history before Aston—" "Eleanor," my mother-in-law's name tore from my throat before I could stop it. "I'm simply suggesting what any responsible family would, a simple test to ensure everything is as it should be. For the baby's sake, of course." The room spun. I looked at Aston, waiting for him to defend me, to shut this down. He was ashen-faced, staring at his plate. "You want me to prove my baby is your grandchild?" My voice shook. "Here? Now? Better to address these things early, don't you think? Colin already has the paperwork drawn up." The family lawyer pulled an envelope from his briefcase, looking apologetic but determined. I stood so quickly my chair scraped across hardwood. "This is what you invited me here for? To ambush me?" "Lucia, please," Aston finally spoke, reaching for my arm. "They're just trying to protect the family name?" I jerked away from him. "And what about protecting your wife, your child?" "Now, dear, there's no need for dramatics," Eleanor sighed. "If you have nothing to hide—" The room went quiet enough to hear crystals singing in the chandelier. Every face turned to me, Ruby's gleeful anticipation, Jordan's careful neutrality, Savannah's silent apology. Martin hadn't looked up from his meal. My hands trembled as I reached for the envelope. "You want a paternity test? Fine, I'll take your test." Eleanor's triumph flickered across her face before she could hide it. "Wonderful! I knew you'd be reasonable. But understand this," I continued, my voice ice cold. "Whatever the results show, I will never forget what happened here tonight. Never." I turned and walked out, head high, leaving my half-eaten dinner and my dignity behind. As I reached the foyer, I heard Aston calling after me, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. If I did, they'd see me cry. In my car, hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel, I finally let the tears fall. But beneath the hurt, beneath the humiliation, something else was crystallizing, something hard and sharp and dangerous. They thought they knew me. The girl who married above her station, who should be grateful for their scraps of approval. They had no idea what I was capable of. Eleanor wanted proof of bloodlines? Fine. But while she was so focused on my baby's DNA, she'd never see me coming for everything else. I started the engine, my mind already racing ahead. They'd just made a terrible mistake, and I was going to make damn sure they regretted it. I spent the night at my mother's house, curled up in my old bedroom like a teenager after a bad breakup. Except this was so much worse. Here, sweetheart. Mom handed me a mug of chamomile tea, her face creased with worry. Have you talked to Aston? I showed her my phone. 12 missed calls, 23 texts. All variations of I'm sorry and please come home and... They didn't mean it like that. He's trying at least, Mom offered, sitting beside me. Trying isn't enough anymore. I sipped the tea, letting its warmth chase away the chill of Eleanor's dining room. You should have seen their faces, Mom. They were enjoying it. They planned this whole dinner just to humiliate me. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Aston. I answered, putting it on speaker. What? Lucia, please come home. We need to talk about this. Talk about what? How your mother accused me of cheating? How you sat there and let her? She's just protective. You know how she is about family. I laughed, bitter and sharp. Protective? Is that what we're calling it now? Look, just take the test. Prove them wrong. Then everything can go back to normal. Normal? I stood up, pacing. Normal was never good enough, Aston. Your family made sure of that. My clothes weren't right. My job wasn't prestigious enough. My background wasn't pure enough. That's not fair. They've been trying to accept you. No, they've been trying to change me. There's a difference. Mum squeezed my hand, her presence anchoring me. I'm staying at my mother's tonight, I told him. I need space. Lucia, please. I hung up. The next morning I drove to the medical centre Eleanor had specified for the test. Of course she'd already made the appointment. Of course she'd chosen the most expensive private clinic in the city. The nurse was professional, treating me like any other expectant mother instead of a suspect in some twisted family drama. As she drew my blood, my phone buzzed with a text from Savannah. I'm so sorry about last night. Mother went too far. Are you okay? I stared at the message, remembering how she tried to warn me. Before I could respond, another text came through. Meet me for coffee. Just us, please. An hour later, I sat across from my sister-in-law at a quiet cafe far from the Whitfields' usual haunts. She looked nervous, fidgeting with her cup. I should have said something, she blurted, when I heard them planning it. They discussed it beforehand. Savannah nodded. Mother's been obsessing ever since you announced the pregnancy. She keeps talking about bloodlines and family legacy. And none of you thought to warn me? I wanted to, but... She looked down. You don't know what it's like, growing up with her. The control, the manipulation. Even now, I can barely breathe without her approval. I studied her face, seeing the shadows under her designer makeup. Why are you telling me this now? Because... She glanced around before sliding an envelope across the table. You're stronger than they know, and maybe you're strong enough to do what I never could. Inside the envelope was a USB drive and a stack of papers, financial statements, contracts, emails. What is this? Things I've noticed, things that didn't add up. Savannah's voice dropped to a whisper. Father and Colin, they're not as careful as they think, especially when they're drinking in the study. My hands shook as I tucked the envelope into my bag. Why give this to me? Because you're not afraid of them. Not really. She stood, gathering her things. And because that baby deserves better than to grow up under Eleanor's thumb. As she turned to leave, I called after her. Savannah? Thank you. She paused. Just be careful, okay? They'll destroy you if they can. I watched her go, my mind racing. The envelope felt heavy in my bag, heavy with possibility. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found the number I needed. Turner Wells Law Office, a receptionist answered. Hi, this is Lucia. Is Turner available? I need to discuss something sensitive. One moment. As I waited, I placed my hand over my stomach, feeling the slight swell there. Eleanor wanted proof this baby was a Whitfield. Fine. But while she waited for those results, I'd be gathering proof of my own. They thought they could break me. Instead, they'd given me everything I needed to break them first. Turner's office hadn't changed since I'd last visited him 2 years ago, seeking advice about my prenup. Back then, I'd been love-blind, brushing off his concerns. Now I wished I'd listened harder. These are interesting documents, Turner said, spreading Savannah's papers across his desk. Where did you get them? A concerned party. I kept my voice neutral. Can you tell what they mean? He picked up one statement, frowning. On the surface, normal business transactions, but these patterns... He grabbed a pen, circling numbers. See these transfers? They're structured to stay just under reporting thresholds, and these shell companies... Money laundering, among other things. He leaned back. Lucia, this is serious. We're talking federal-level crimes. I pulled out my laptop, opening old emails from my finance days. I have more, things I noticed before the wedding, but ignored. Colin used to make comments, jokes about creative accounting. Colin's involved? Turner's eyebrows shot up. That complicates things. He's well connected. They all are. That's how they've gotten away with it for so long. My phone buzzed. Aston again. I silenced it. Still not talking to him? Turner asked. He keeps saying he wants to fix things, but he won't stand up to them. I rubbed my temple. Last night he actually suggested I apologise to Eleanor for making a scene at dinner. Classic abuse victim behaviour, Turner muttered, then caught himself. Sorry, that was unprofessional, but accurate. I stood, pacing. I used to think Aston was different, that he just couldn't see how toxic they were. Now I wonder if he's just better at hiding it. Turner gathered the papers into a folder. I'll have my team look into these, discreetly, but Lucia... He hesitated. Are you sure you want to do this? These people have resources, connections. They could make your life very difficult. More difficult than being accused of infidelity at my own dinner table. More difficult than watching my husband choose his mother's approval over his wife's dignity. Point taken. He made some notes. We'll need more evidence. Concrete proof of... A knock interrupted us. Turner's secretary poked her head in. Mr. Wells, there's a Miss Savannah on line 1, says it's urgent. I grabbed the phone before Turner could. Savannah? Lucia? Her voice was hushed, panicked. They know something's wrong. Colin was just here, going through Father's office. They're shredding documents. What? How did they... Ruby saw us at the cafe, she told Mother. Papers rustled in the background. I'm copying what I can, but... She broke off with a gasp. Savannah? Someone's coming. I have to go. The line went dead. Well, Turner said into the silence, that speeds up our timeline. I was already gathering my things. I need to get to the house. If they're destroying evidence... No. He caught my arm. That's exactly what they want. You show up there now, they'll know for sure you're involved. Let me handle this part. But Savannah can take care of herself. You need to focus on protecting yourself and your baby. He scribbled a number on his card. This is my personal cell. Call any time. And Lucia? His expression hardened. Don't trust anyone, not even Aston. I nodded, but my phone was already buzzing with a text from my husband. Mother wants to have lunch, just us 3, to apologise. Please come. I showed Turner the message. A trap, he said immediately. Obviously, I typed a reply, not feeling well, another time. Seconds later, I'll pick you up. Where are you? I turned off my phone. Smart, Turner approved. Keep your distance. Let them worry. Outside his office, summer heat hit me like a wall. I sat in my car, thinking about Savannah's fear, about Eleanor's perfectly timed lunch invitation. They were scrambling, which meant they were scared. Good. I drove to my mother's house, taking a circuitous route to check for tails. A paranoid move, maybe, but necessary. Mum was working at her shop, but she'd left a note on the counter. Aston came by, told him you were resting. Stay strong, baby girl. Love, Mum. I crumpled the note, anger rising fresh. They were trying to box me in, using my own family to track me. But they'd forgotten something crucial. I wasn't the same naive girl who'd married into their world. I'd been a financial analyst before Aston, before Eleanor convinced me to focus on family. I knew numbers, I knew patterns, and thanks to Savannah I knew where to look. They wanted to play games? Fine. But this time I was writing the rules. The paternity test results would arrive in 3 days. I spent every minute building my case. "Look at this," I told Turner, pointing to my laptop screen. We were meeting in a small coffee shop 2 towns over, away from the Whitfields' usual haunts. These transactions, they're routing money through at least 6 different countries. Turner whistled low. Tax evasion, money laundering, there's enough here to put them away for decades. If we can prove it. That's the trick. He sipped his coffee. We need access to their internal servers, the kind of access only family members have. My phone lit up with Aston's face. Again, I declined the call. "You'll have to talk to him eventually," Turner said. "I know, just not yet." I rubbed my growing belly. Every time I think about facing him. The cafe door chimed. I froze mid-sentence as Ruby walked in, designer purse swinging. "Well, well," she drawled, sauntering over. "Fancy meeting you here." I closed my laptop. "Ruby, bit far from your usual spots." "Oh, I was just visiting a friend." Her smile was razor-sharp. "Interesting choice of company, though. Isn't this Eleanor's former divorce attorney?" Turner stood, extending his hand. "Turner Wells, and I represent many clients." "I'm sure." She ignored his hand. "Eleanor will be fascinated to hear about this little consultation." "It's not what you think," I started, but Turner cut me off. "Mrs. Whitfield is simply reviewing her estate planning, standard practice for expectant mothers." Ruby's eyes narrowed. "Right, estate planning, 3 towns away, with Eleanor's least favourite lawyer." "I don't need to explain myself to you." "No?" She leaned closer. "Aston's worried sick, you know, barely sleeping, but here you are sneaking around with lawyers instead of fixing your marriage." My hands shook as I packed up my laptop. "Tell Aston if he's so worried, he can stop letting his mother run our lives." "The test results come back soon, don't they?" Ruby's voice dripped honey-coated venom. "Wouldn't it be awful if they showed something unexpected?" I whirled on her. "Are you threatening me?" "Threatening? No, dear, just making conversation." Turner stepped between us. "I think we're done here." Ruby shrugged, adjusting her designer sunglasses. "For now." She turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Lucia, Eleanor wanted me to remind you about the family dinner tomorrow. She won't take no for an answer this time." After she left, I collapsed into my chair. They know. They have to know. Maybe. Turner gathered our things. Or they're fishing. Either way, we need to move faster. The dinner tomorrow could be an opportunity. He lowered his voice. "If you go, keep them distracted. I might be able to get someone into Martin's office." Back at Mum's house, I found Aston waiting on the porch. My heart clenched at the sight of him. Tired, unshaven, still devastatingly handsome. "Enough," he said as I approached. "We need to talk." "About what? How your family's trying to destroy me?" "They're not." He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, just come home. Take the test. Prove them wrong. Everything can go back to normal." "Normal?" I laughed. "You mean where I smile and nod while your mother undermines me? Where I pretend not to notice the whispers, the jokes, the constant criticism? They're trying to accept you. No, they're trying to break me, and you're helping them." He grabbed my arm as I tried to pass. "Where were you today? Ruby said—" I jerked away. "Ruby needs to mind her own business." "You're my wife. This is my business." His voice cracked. "What are you planning, Lucia?" For a moment, looking into his worried eyes, I almost told him everything. Almost. "Nothing," I lied. "I just needed space." Will you come to dinner tomorrow? I thought of Turner's plan, of the evidence we still needed. Yes. His relief was palpable. Thank you. Mother will be... I'm not doing it for her. I opened the front door. Goodbye, Aston. Inside, I leaned against the wall, listening to his car start and drive away. My phone buzzed with a text from Turner. Be careful tomorrow. If they suspect anything, they'll be watching. I touched my stomach, feeling my baby move. Don't worry, I whispered. Mommy's going to fix everything. But as I headed upstairs, Ruby's words echoed in my head. Wouldn't it be awful if the test results showed something unexpected? They wouldn't dare. Would they? The Whitfield mansion loomed before me, all Georgian columns and old money arrogance. I smoothed my dress, checked my lipstick in the car mirror, and walked into the lion's den. Eleanor opened the door herself. Unusual, she never played hostess. Lucia, darling, we were starting to worry. Traffic, I lied, letting her air kiss my cheek. Her perfume was suffocating. The dining room buzzed with forced cheerfulness. Aston rushed to pull out my chair, but Savannah caught my eye from across the table. She looked terrible, pale, dark circles under her eyes barely concealed by makeup. Wine, Lucia, Martin offered, already pouring. I'm pregnant, remember? The baby you're so concerned about? Silence dropped like a stone. Eleanor cleared her throat. Now, dear, let's not dwell on unpleasantness. We're here to celebrate family. Of course, I smiled sweetly. How's the merger going, Martin? Any complications? He paused mid-pour. Everything's proceeding as planned. Fascinating. I'd love to hear the details. Business talk bores me, Eleanor cut in. Lucia, tell us about the nursery plans. Before I could answer, Colin burst into the room. He looked dishevelled, panicked. Martin, we need to... He stopped short, seeing me. I apologise for interrupting. Everything all right? I asked innocently. Fine. Martin stood. Excuse us, business matter. They disappeared into Martin's study. The door slammed. More salad? Eleanor's knuckles were white around the serving spoons. I checked my phone under the table. A text from Turner. In position. Keep them busy. Actually, I said, standing, I need to use the restroom. This pregnancy, you know. I'll show you. Savannah jumped up. I know the way. I insist. In the hallway, she grabbed my arm. They're destroying everything, she whispered. Father's been in his study all day, shredding files, wiping hard drives. It's handled, I assured her. Just stay calm and... What are you two whispering about? Ruby appeared, making us jump. Morning sickness tips, Savannah said smoothly. Since I've been through it. Ruby's eyes narrowed. Really? Because it looked like... A crash from Martin's study interrupted her. Shouting followed. What now? Ruby hurried toward the noise. I grabbed Savannah's hand. Whatever happens, stay in the dining room. Lucia, what did you do? But I was already moving, following the commotion. Martin's study door was open, voices spilling out. Can't access anything, Colin was saying. The servers are locked. Fix it, Martin roared. I'm trying, but someone's encrypted. I stepped into the doorway. Problems? They froze. Martin's face went from red to purple. You. Me? What did you do? Colin demanded. I have no idea what you're talking about. I leaned against the doorframe. But it sounds serious. Martin advanced on me. If you've touched my files... Martin! Eleanor appeared behind me. What's going on? Ask your daughter-in-law. He spat the words. She's somehow... Somehow what? Aston pushed past his mother. Father, what's happening? Your wife is destroying this family. By using the bathroom? I widened my eyes innocently. Or is there something else you're worried about? Eleanor grabbed my arm. Whatever you think you're doing. Take your hands off my wife. Aston's voice cut through the chaos. Everyone stared at him. Even I was shocked. Aston, Eleanor gasped. Surely you don't believe... I said, let go. She released me, stepping back. You're choosing her? After everything we've done for you? Done for him, I laughed. You mean like demanding a paternity test, or maybe like hiding money in offshore accounts? The room went deadly quiet. You don't know what you're talking about, Martin said, but his voice shook. My phone buzzed. Another text from Turner. Got everything. Get out now. Don't I? I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Martin, you might want to call your banker. I hear the feds are very interested in certain transactions. You bitch, Eleanor breathed. Mother! Aston snapped. I smiled, touching my stomach. No, Eleanor, I'm just a woman protecting her child from all of you. Chaos erupted behind me as I walked away. Savannah stood in the dining room doorway, wide-eyed. It's done, she whispered, almost. I squeezed her hand as I passed. Thank you for everything. Outside, the night air felt clean, free. My phone rang. Turner. Did you get it? Everything, he confirmed. The FBI's very interested in our findings. Behind me, I could hear shouting from the house. Soon they'd realise exactly how much trouble they were in. But first, we had one more card to play. The paternity test results were due tomorrow. The medical centre's waiting room crackled with tension. Eleanor sat ramrod straight, Martin paced, and Aston kept glancing between me and his parents like he was watching a tennis match. Even Colin looked nervous, his usual polished demeanour cracking. Mrs. Whitfield? The nurse appeared with an envelope. The results are ready. I'll take those. Eleanor reached out, but I was faster. No, I snatched the envelope. You wanted this test? Fine, but I'm reading it. My hands didn't shake as I broke the seal. I'd waited for this moment, planned it perfectly. Turner stood by the door, right on schedule, holding his own envelope. I cleared my throat. The probability of paternity between Aston Whitfield and the fetus carried by Lucia Whitfield is 99.99%. The silence was deafening. Happy now? I turned to Eleanor. Satisfied that your precious bloodline is intact? She recovered quickly. Well, naturally, we never truly doubted. Save it. I handed the results to Aston. Here's proof your wife isn't a whore. Frame it, maybe. Lucia, he started. I never thought. Mr. and Mrs. Whitfield? Turner stepped forward. Since we're all here, I have something for you as well. Colin jumped up. This is a private family matter. Oh, it's about to be very public. Turner handed his envelope to Martin. That's a copy of what's being delivered to the FBI right now. Financial records, emails, offshore accounts, everything. Martin's face went ash grey. You can't. Already did. I stood, one hand on my stomach. You should have been more careful with your paperwork, Martin. And Colin, maybe don't discuss money laundering over drinks in your office. Eleanor lunged for the envelope, but Martin held it away. His hands trembled as he read. How dare you, Eleanor hissed, after everything we've given you. Given me, I laughed. You've given me nothing but grief and humiliation. You demanded proof of my baby's paternity? Well, I'm giving you proof of something else. Proof that the great Whitfield family is built on fraud and lies. You're destroying our legacy, she screamed. No, I'm freeing my child from it. Colin was already on his phone, probably calling his own lawyer. Martin hadn't moved, still staring at the documents. Aston, Eleanor pleaded, do something. But Aston was reading over his father's shoulder, his face growing harder with each page. Is this true, all of it? Son, we can explain. The charity funds, the cancer research money you stole from sick children? We had to protect the family. By becoming criminals, he threw the papers down. My whole life you preached about legacy, about honour. Was any of it real? The elevator dinged. 2 men in suits stepped out, badges visible. Martin Whitfield, one called. We need you to come with us. Eleanor crumpled, her perfect facade finally cracking. This can't be happening. It is. I gathered my things. And Eleanor, next time you want to accuse someone of being unworthy of your family, look in the mirror first. Lucia, wait. Aston caught my arm. Please, I didn't know. Didn't know or didn't want to know? I pulled away. You let them torture me for 2 years. You watched them question your own child's legitimacy, and you did nothing. I'll make it right. It's too late. The FBI agents were reading Martin his rights. Colin was arguing with them, waving his business card. Eleanor had sunk into a chair, mascara running. Savannah helped you, Aston realised. That's how you got the documents. She's braver than you think, than any of you thought. He ran his hands through his hair, looking lost. What happens now? Now? I watched as Martin was led away in handcuffs. Now I go home, to my mother's house, where people actually love me. I love you. No, you love the idea of me. The quiet, grateful wife who puts up with anything to be part of your precious family. I touched his cheek one last time. But that's not who I am anymore. Turner held the door for me. As I walked out, I heard Eleanor's wail echo through the waiting room. What will people say? In the parking lot, I finally let myself shake, let the tears come. It was over, all of it. My phone buzzed, a text from Savannah. Are you okay? Yes, I typed back. Are you? Better than okay, I'm free. I smiled, starting my car. We all were. The baby kicked, strong and sure, as if in agreement. No more Whitfield legacy of lies. We were writing our own story now. And it was just beginning. The news broke like a tsunami. Prominent family in financial scandal, screamed the headlines. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with reporters seeking comments. Turn on the TV, Savannah texted. They're arresting Colin. I flipped to the local news just in time to see the family lawyer being led out of his office in handcuffs, trying to hide his face from cameras. Mom brought me tea, settling beside me on the couch. How are you holding up? Before I could answer, someone pounded on our front door. Lucia! Eleanor's voice shrill and desperate. I know you're in there. Mum squeezed my hand. I'll handle this. She opened the door to find Eleanor, mascara streaked, designer clothes wrinkled. Where is she? This is her fault. Lower your voice, Mum said calmly. My neighbours. To hell with your neighbours, Eleanor tried to push past. Martin's in jail. Our accounts are frozen. Everything we built. Everything you stole, I corrected, standing. There's a difference. You vindictive little... Careful, Mum stepped between us. That's my daughter you're threatening. Eleanor laughed, high and hysterical. Daughter? You raised a viper. She destroyed our family. No, you did that yourself, years ago. I moved closer. Every time you belittled me, every time you questioned my worth, every time you made Aston choose between his wife and his mother. He's leaving you, you know. Her smile was vicious. Called me this morning, said he's filing for divorce. My heart stuttered, but I kept my voice steady. Is that supposed to hurt me? He'll take the baby. A judge will never let someone like you. Someone like me? I pulled out my phone, hitting record. Please, Eleanor, tell me more about someone like me while I record this for the custody hearing. She deflated, finally seeing me clearly. What do you want? Money? We can pay. With what? Your frozen accounts? I shook my head. I don't want anything from you, not any more. Then why? Why did you do this? Because my child deserves better than your toxic legacy, better than growing up watching their mother be torn down day after day. A car screeched into the driveway, Aston, looking wild-eyed. Mother, what are you doing here? Trying to save what's left of our family. She grabbed his arm. Tell her, darling. Tell her about the divorce. What? He jerked away. I never said anything about divorce. Eleanor's face fell. But you said. I said I needed time to think. He looked at me. Lucia, can we talk? Please? No, Mom and I said simultaneously. Just 5 minutes, he begged. There's something you need to know. I hesitated, then nodded to Mom. She reluctantly went inside, leaving Eleanor on the porch. Make it quick. I'm testifying against them. The words tumbled out. The FBI, they offered a deal. If I cooperate... Aston! Eleanor shrieked. You can't! I can. I am. He straightened his shoulders. I've spent my whole life watching them hurt people, watching them hurt you. I'm done." "You'd betray your own parents?" Eleanor staggered. "You betrayed everything you taught me to believe in." He turned back to me. "I know it's too late. I know I can't fix what I let them do to you, but I can try to make it right." My phone buzzed. Savannah. "Ruby's talking to the FBI too. It's all falling apart." "Mother," Aston said quietly, "you should go home. The lawyer said not to contact anyone involved in the case." Eleanor looked between us, her world crumbling. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is." I opened my front door. "Goodbye, Eleanor." She left, stumbling slightly in her expensive heels. Aston stayed, hands shoved in his pockets. "I meant what I said," he murmured, "about making things right." "I know. Do you think, maybe someday—" "I don't know." I touched my stomach. "Right now, I need to focus on our baby, on healing." He nodded, eyes wet. Can I be there when the baby comes?" I studied him, this man I'd loved, who'd failed me so completely, who was finally choosing right over easy. "We'll see." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But as I watched him walk away, I felt something shift inside me. Not just the baby moving, but something else. Something like hope. Mum appeared beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. "You okay?" "Yeah." I leaned into her. "I think I finally am." My phone buzzed one last time. Turner. "FBI wants to meet tomorrow. Ready to finish this?" I smiled, watching Eleanor's car disappear down the street. "Ready." The hospital room was quiet except for my son's soft breathing. He was perfect. 10 tiny fingers, 10 tiny toes, and absolutely no trace of the Whitfield legacy in his innocent face. A knock at the door made me look up. Savannah stood there, holding flowers. "Is it okay if I come in?" I nodded, adjusting the baby in my arms. She approached cautiously, peering at his sleeping face. "He's beautiful, Lucia." "Want to hold him?" She took him carefully, tears forming in her eyes. "What's his name?" "James, after my father." "Not Martin." Her attempt at humour made us both laugh. "How are you holding up?" I asked, "with the trial coming up?" "Better than expected." She sat in the visitor's chair, still cradling James. "Ruby's plea deal went through. She's testifying against mother and father." "And Aston?" "He's been cooperating fully. The prosecutors say his testimony will be crucial." She hesitated. "He asks about you every day." Before I could respond, my mother arrived with coffee and news. "Just saw on TV, Eleanor took a plea deal." "What?" Savannah and I said together. 20 years, plus full cooperation. Martin's still fighting it, but he's going away for longer," Savannah finished. "Good." A commotion in the hallway drew our attention. Turner appeared, looking apologetic. "Sorry to interrupt, but I thought you should know. Colin just confessed to everything, says he's been keeping records for years as insurance." I laughed, startling James awake. Of course he did. Even their lawyer couldn't trust them. "The prosecutors want to know if you'll make a victim impact statement at the sentencing." I looked at my son, now fussing slightly in Savannah's arms. "No, I don't need to say anything else to them." "Lucia?" Aston stood in the doorway, uncertainty written across his face. Can I meet my son?" The room went silent. Mum stepped forward protectively, but I touched her arm. "It's okay." Savannah carefully transferred James to his father's arms. Aston's hands shook as he held him. "Hey, little man," he whispered. "I'm your dad." James yawned, unimpressed. "He looks like you," Aston said, looking at me. "Thank God for that," Savannah muttered, making everyone except Aston laugh. "I signed the papers," he said suddenly, "giving you full custody. Turner has them." I hadn't expected that. "Aston, you were right about everything." He kissed James's forehead. "Our son deserves better than what I came from, better than what I was." "Was?" I asked quietly. "I'm in therapy now, learning to be different, to be better." He met my eyes. Not for you, or even for him. For me. Turner cleared his throat. The trust fund transfers are complete too. Everything's in Lucia's name now for James. Good. Aston handed the baby back to me. Use it to give him the life he deserves, the life I should have fought for you to have. You could still be part of that life, I found myself saying, if you prove you've really changed. Hope flickered across his face. Really? Supervised visits, for now? I looked at my son. He should know his father, the man you're becoming, not the one you were. Thank you. He stepped back. I should go. Let you rest. After he left, Savannah squeezed my hand. You're a better person than I am. No. I adjusted James's blanket. Just a different kind of strong. Mum brought me the coffee she'd been holding. Speaking of strong, when are you going back to work? Monday. I smiled at their surprised faces. Turner's firm offered me a position in their financial crimes division. Apparently, I have relevant experience. They laughed, and James joined in with a happy gurgle. Outside my window, I could see the city stretching out, full of possibilities I'd forgotten existed when I was trapped in the Whitfield web. You know, Savannah said thoughtfully, Mother always worried about protecting the family legacy. And I think you did protect it, the real legacy. She touched James's tiny hand. You protected him from becoming what they were. I looked at my son, at my mother, at my sister-in-law who became my ally, at the life I'd reclaimed from those who tried to break me. No more legacies, I said, just love, that's enough. James gripped my finger, strong and sure, as if sealing the promise. In that moment I knew. We'd both be okay, better than okay, we were free, and that was everything.